boy, the Bourbon Metaverse, man. I know no one here knows what the Bourbon Metaverse is, I'm pretty certain. So, this is, I think kind of generally new news to everybody. So about a year ago, Automata Media, one of my favorite websites right now to go to, made a post about the Bourbon Snack Company in Japan. I think it's their 99th anniversary or whatever. They launched a Metaverse. If you don't know what a Metaverse is, Metaverse is kind of like an online hangout space, kind of where you can kind of walk around as a character and hang out with other people and stuff like that. And so the snack company launched a Metaverse in like this kind of like Candyland area. They made this like little 3D Candyland place, and I don't really know why they did this, but they did it. And so you could log in, and basically you'd kind of go around. You could solve these little puzzles and stuff. Nothing crazy. Or maybe it was like a quiz game. You could like do a multiple choice quiz and things like that. And when you did that stuff, you would earn coins. And as you earn coins, you could use that to play like a gacha machine, and you would earn, different wallpapers for your computer. You can get coupons for snacks and stuff like that. This company's been around for like 100 years, and basically one of the main, I think, snack companies in Japan. Could be wrong about that, but I believe that's the case. And so you go around this building or this area, and eventually you get into a building that's their headquarters, supposedly, or it's like modeled after their headquarters. It's all in Japanese, man, and I did not make any effort to read or understand this, but it's a big building. You go in the big building, and it is full of ads. It is full of products that they sell. There's like these little tiny theaters you can sit down and watch movies in, or not movies, ads in. And there's these big screens that also show ads and stuff around as well. And a lot of just like weird little things, like there's like this little island with like a train going around on it. And like they have like a bear mascot, or at least right now they have like a bear mascot, I think, or maybe one of the particular product lines they have has a bear mascot. And this bear mascot is like all over the place. So you're walking around, you're exploring this stuff. And it's pretty interesting to see. I mean, it's not that interesting, but it's kind of just, I think the thing that draws me to Bourbon Metaverse is while you're going through and exploring this stuff, I think is you just kind of ask the questions like, why? I think it's one of those things that like the Metaverse was like a hot topic for a while. Facebook changed their name to Meta and things like that. So like, I don't know if they just were like late on the train or just took a long time to get here. But, creating this Metaverse, I don't really know what the point and purpose is. So when I was playing back then, there were some people online. There was about, I think, 6 or 7 people running around from what I remember. I had some guy tell me to follow him, and I walked around and followed him. And I forget. I think I told him, like, I don't speak Japanese. And I think he said, it's okay, follow, or something like that. And I walked around. Just hanging out with them. But, I don't know. So he's just walking around this place. And eventually they get to these kind of places in that world that are not 3D models. They're places where you can explore like the temple kind of area that's outside the building. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but like when you go to Japan, even around like office buildings and stuff, you'll find little temples and shrines everywhere. I don't know who owns them, who builds them, if they've been there forever or what. Monolith Soft has a temple shrine area outside their offices area too. I have pictures of it. So, I don't know why this stuff, there's like parks outside Hugh Neck's office kind of thing, and that has like little shrines and stuff in it. Japan's really interesting in that regard of just like, you can just be in the city and you just come across a shrine, and it's just there. So they have like a little like, 3D diorama view of a shrine, and you're this little character walking around this like, basically a square box, but this world mapped around it kind of thing. And there's like little information things. There's like these busts of like the company's, previous CEOs and stuff that are there as well. And then you can like go and explore this like little, I guess like this little grass trail. Again, I assume it's something near their office. I don't know the context of the stuff. There's just little things you can explore, and all these things you can collect coins, and that gives you the gotchas, so you can, roll the different, like, get the little wallpapers and things like that. So yeah, and eventually you get to the end, you climb this tower with just full of information, and as you read information, you also get coins as well. And you get to the very top, and you, there's more stuff there as well, and there's little signs and stuff. But eventually you'll find like a little warp pad, and it takes you into this like platform in outer space. And when you first got there in the original version of the Metaverse, there was a video first saying, thank you for playing. There's this giant, like, almost calendar thing that seemed to be telling you, come back at this time and we'll have new content or something. And then the other thing is there's these 5 anime girls. And from what I can tell, each of those 5 anime girls represent a certain type of snack. And maybe they might be specifically kind of their long cookie brands. I don't know for sure. I didn't really do the full research on this. But I believe 2 of them I've tracked down what brand they represent. And then there's one I believe I've tracked down. I bought them from a local Japanese grocery store, but I haven't looked up their name to see if they connect back to that girl. There's 2 other girls I don't know who they connect with. So it's like a 5-girl like idol group thing related to the snack company. And it seems like maybe there's like one ad or something where these characters were there and you just kind of like were there with these characters and like, okay, cool. And that was kind of it. And, you could go around and talk to people while watching ads and stuff like that. That's kind of what it was. And, I guess the bigger thing in all that is that you learn the history of this company, right? Again, I can't read any of this. So it starts off it's really weird because like you start in this like Candyland area and you get these like things that feel more like, you exploring, a fantasy Candyland kind of thing. And then you get to this building. It's just this very corporate building as you go up this tower and you get advertised to more and more until you eventually go to space and you find anime girls. But I recently logged back in to the Bourbon Metaverse a year later, essentially. And boy, they still have it up and running and they've been updating it and they added an entire new museum. It is this giant block museum with these like elevators that take you to different floors and stuff. And the floors are all see-through so you can see all the exhibits all the way up to the top. And there's like this timeline that goes all the way up the walls and things like that. And they put a lot of like thought into how this place was designed. It wasn't just like a building in like a Candyland. It is this very like abstract museum that you go in, and this year is the 100-year anniversary, and so they're like telling you from floor 1 to the top floor about the 100-year journey of this company and where they started, the people who started it, and then every floor is probably about 20 years worth of things, and they're like, hey, this earthquake happened and we helped provide for it kind of thing. And then, here are these different people who ran the company at different times. Here's the production process for different types of snacks. Here's how a character mascot evolved over time through the years. It's like, I forget his name, Burger Daddy or Burger something. And it's just like, here's the different iterations of the burger guy. And there's like these little videos and things like that too. And they went and added additional like these little rooms you can sit in, which are like little, restaurants or cafes kind of thing. And you can go to the back room and there's like this little table sitting area and you can look at various posters that are advertisements. And then you can watch the creation process of how a commercial was made, and the production process and things like that. And so they added all these kind of things around it. And when I logged in this time, there was nobody playing the Metaverse. But I don't know how long ago I think it was April 1st was the last update I saw. And part of me was like, was it an April Fool's joke? But logged in, it was like, no, it seems like they're still just updating this thing. So I haven't checked in to see like how often the Metaverse is being updated. But it's interesting. And they have these giant, like almost, what is it called? The monolith, the big like placard. They have like a bunch of monoliths with just like information on them about the company and stuff. So it's just very, very interesting. And I guess like the weird thing to me is just like that first Metaverse was made and yet they continue to move forward with this. And I don't know, maybe they have a contract with whatever company's making this, like have to do it for 1 year. Maybe they just want to celebrate their company's history. Like sometimes like websites like, the Capcom whatever year anniversary website, Capcom Town or whatever, I have to wonder, like, what is the return on that, right? I mean, at some point, I think somebody in a business probably looks at it and has to put numbers on things and say, like, well, this is going to build customer loyalty, and that's going to translate to numbers. Whether it does or not is a whole other thing, right? But I wonder how much of that is an emotional thing, too, right? Like, we are this company, and we want to celebrate what we have done because, companies... Look, we talk a lot... Like, you can talk a lot about, like, what the company, like at the bottom line, companies are there to make money, right? But they're made up of people, right? That's kind of the thing. It's like when you look at companies, the bottom line is to make money, but they're made up of people. And, along the way, each person's going to have different thoughts and feelings about that company. People are going to have pride about the company. People are going to have resentment towards that company, right? But how much is it just like, hey, I just feel really good about doing this thing, and I want to, obviously we can't have this weird abstract museum in real life for the Bourbon Metaverse, or for the Bourbon Snack Company, but hey, we can do it in VR, and we can show our board of check this out, check this celebration out for our company and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of interesting. So, but yeah, one change I did notice between the original version and this version is I believe the original version, as you collected coins, I'm trying to remember. If I went back and looked at the footage, I'm sure I could check, but I recorded all this. But I think you would collect coins, and as you collected 20 coins at a time, I think you would unlock new outfits. And I think there was a hard cap on how many coins you could collect each day, so I never got all of them. But basically your character is one of the anime girls. It's the main anime girl, the Lumonde or something, which is I don't know. It's very it's a very coffee tea kind of snack. It's very crisp and airy. And I think you want to kind of dip it in something, and it has a kind of some kind of layer on top of it. I forget what it was, but you play as her, and she has a variety of outfits. So her first outfit's just a t-shirt, and then you kind of upgrade up to this dress, this fancy dress that's her standard dress. And then you get little bear heads that you can stick on your head, and old bear that'll hang off your back and stuff. And then eventually you can become one of the chef mascots and stuff. So that stuff would unlock via coins. And in the final version, unless I missed something, or maybe somehow unlocked them without realizing it, or maybe they lowered the bar for how to unlock them. It seems like all of them are just unlocked, or at least, it saved my save data. So all that, my progress in the Bourbon Metaverse was saved and preserved. So yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those weird things. It's one of those things that I don't know. I think a lot of times it sits there, and I think the big question that sometimes that this kind of comes back to, I ask why of the Bourbon Metaverse, right? Why is the company doing this? But also, why am I here, right? And why am I looking at all this? And why did I unlock all this stuff? And why am I pulling gotcha for these wallpapers? Is it just because it's weird? Is it because it's absurd? Or is there some value I'm pulling out of this? Is it just the sake of I'm the one person in the world who's going to talk about the Bourbon Metaverse? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that today, I don't think. And I came back again. I went back to the Bourbon Metaverse. So it's hard to answer that, right? And in some ways, I don't know that. That's one thing that I think I don't know how apparent that is. I feel like I do try to communicate that stuff, is that sometimes I just don't know why I'm doing the thing I do, right? And then so I think people want to hear that justification out of you sometimes about that stuff, and it's you don't know the words, right? And it's just I don't know what to say to you. I'll say what I think, but that doesn't mean it's accurate, right? And I think I mentioned that in the Babylon's Fall videos. Sometimes you just don't have the words for why you engage with something, and it can be a little frustrating if somebody kind of continually asks you about something and you just can't figure it out. And it's not their fault a lot of times. It's just them kind of asking. I think as long as they're kind and considerate about it, it's perfectly fine. But it is frustrating when you get the same question over and over and over again, and just every answer you give seems to fail, right? It's an interesting thing. So what I'm trying to say is, don't ask me about the Bourbon Metaverse. But yeah, I like the Bourbon Metaverse. I think about the Bourbon Metaverse more than I should. I'm glad I revisited the Bourbon Metaverse. Maybe I should go back to the Bourbon Metaverse. Who can say? But I think it's a really interesting little thing, and I'm glad that they continue to update it, and I hope somebody is getting something out of it. I did.